So welcome guys in another video. This is the video about equipping and gear for our tank champions and decision making behind which stats to choose, if it's HP main stat or defense percentage main stat and whatsoever. So I'll try to give my approach and my opinion, which doesn't necessarily mean it's the best opinion, but it's going to be the opinion I'm following through, and so far it helped me with the progression a lot, and I hope it might, with some explanation of the reasoning and why I did it and how I did it, might help you guys with progression. So let's check our two main tanks actually first, and they are none other than Olag and Baron. So for the gear, let's start with the weapons and chest piece. I use on tanks only Life Force, Immortal Warrior, or very rarely Iron Fortress. And for the weapon, it's very obvious. We don't really care about attack on tanks, attack speed or rage regen or anything like that. So first of all, we need to get HP percentage, defense percentage. And anything added to this is already a big bonus. So there would be, if we could find the piece which has all of these four stats, I would just go for it and use it. As you can see, I have something like that on Baron. Since I'm filtering very hardly and removing anything without crit rate, and kind of sacrifice good tank pieces for that. So maybe be wary of that when you loot them, to lock them. Don't sacrifice too many pieces like me. Similar concept would go on the chest piece. You just want as much possible of this as possible. And you would have already a good portion of tankiness just from the two pieces. Let's do it like this. So this is the main, what we would look for, and then anything extra would be nice. So for example, this is a solid piece, or this could be a solid piece if it rolled a little bit better. And obviously this is like insane piece, like really good for tanks. And for the accessories, it's very simple. In my opinion, always better to go for HP percentage on all free items for your like real tanks, which are there only for tanking. We don't really have good champions which are scaling well with defense or have some ability scaling from defense. It's usually from HP. So for example, Olag, more HP he has, the bigger shield he is creating. So you want his HP to go to ridiculous numbers. So what I usually do is I hope to find at least HP percentage accessory with a defense percentage substat and HP flat, and anything else I just try to use. If I have it, I just put it on him. If it's rolled well. For the sets here, it's obviously nice to have something like, I would go the Glacier maybe, or the Guardian set is very nice if you can get it. Usually they are sacrificed a lot. And Invigoration, if you can get Invigoration just to boost your other characters by placing a tank, they're already there just to only help. That was already a big benefit for your team setup. But my Invigoration sets are terrible, and usually I never have enough of them, the pieces, so I need to run whatever I have. So something like this would be a nice thing to go through. As you can see, my Olag could actually use some upgrade. For example, what do we have here? These are some solid pieces. I would maybe try to get this one. See how much we can roll it. Oh, we rolled it way better than what I had in here. So he'll get the proper upgrade there. As for the amulet, let's see. He has very bad roll, but still, for tanks it's not really that crucial as for the DPS characters. So here I'm looking again for as many defensive stats as possible. He doesn't really need to have attack speed or crit rate or anything. Oh, this is a solid piece. This is a solid piece. As you can see, everything has crit rate on my gears. Because of my filtering of the gear, it's kind of lazy, so let's try this. Oh wow, holy moly. Okay, I'm upgrading my Olag to through the roof now. It's going to be insane. And what do we have here? Can keep that for healers. Yeah, this could be. Yeah, they're all terrible. But I think it's still better than... Now the defense would drop down. Try this one also. Okay. Holy moly. So yeah, Oleg became monster now. So there it is. So this is like a little bit insane looking Oleg. What is a trap for? Kind of a trap for gearing your tanks. Ignore your BP. Your tanks main stats are HP, then defense, and then maybe some rage regen based on what kind of champion it is. And usually with so stats high, that's very high, their BP is not going to be crazy or any good, because attack speed and attack and crit damage and crit rate are actually the biggest BP boosters. For example, 40,000 BP is actually a lot for a tank, when everything he has geared is mainly for HP and defense. Now my Olag is super strong because he went like by 12,000 HP up and almost 500 defense up from these little upgrades I just did with you guys together. And when we check his skill set, where the main thing we want him to do is the silver shield. And as you can see, his silver shield is giving as much shield as his 85% of his max HP, so that's why we're focusing on the max HP here. And usually all our tanks have max HP skill connection. So for example, when we go to the Baron, his ultimate, when we activate it, we give him a Giga Barrier of 100% of max of his HP. So therefore we usually always go and try to fully push it to max HP with a subset of defense, and we get double value from for our tanks. And if you're lucky enough to have Awaken 5 Baron like me, you will recover with 50% of his HP after Immortal Wrath is ended, so he's like super hard to get rid of. And these two tanks basically are carrying me through Void Rifts, through content, through bosses, through a lot of stuff. Obviously there are some specific tanks which could get a little bit different treatment. For example, Torador could be kind of a damage based tank, because he's from the very high DPS scaling team. And we have now a new cool artifact, Tuning Crystal, that actually can make him do a lot of damage. But it's very hard to gear him to be still tanky, to still face the enemies and do a lot of damage. So this part is very tricky, but it's a little bit of example. What I was trying to do is, obviously I have a lot of defense and was hoping for some HP on my pieces, on top of some damaging stats, and I put on him the Immortal Warrior set. But yeah, it's hard to gear damaging tank because you want a crit cap, you want to have some crit damage, you want to have some attack speed on top of some good defense and HP. For defense, I think if you get to 5k defense, close to 5k, I think it's for now it's pretty solid, and then you should focus on anything else. Overdoing it on defense is usually backfiring. From what I felt, initially I was putting 2 HP percent and 1 defense bonus, and what was happening, I had too much defense, but when finally something happened, like some mob or NPC was ignoring my defenses, or it was, let's say, a caster, suddenly he was getting too much damage hits with a single hit, and healer had a hard time to heal him back. So having a big health pool on a tank is also helpful for being able to be healed up fast enough. But you cannot really neglect your defense. You cannot like make him super giga health high and very low defense, because then you will be getting one tapped very easily. Therefore, always HP and defense. As we can see here, for Baron, I was forced to use the Guardian Ring with defense because I didn't have the HP one. Maybe I have HP one now. I was doing some content where he was dying no matter what without the Guardian set, so I can actually put the one which I replaced from Olak on him. Very nice. So now he's super nice, strong now. Again. As for the main tanks, artifacts, you want the Bastion Ring just because of extra block, and like definitely one of the best, if not the best artifacts in the game. And for some other options, if you don't have a Bastion Ring, Goddess Grace is nice just because of the main mythic artifact stats, and this makes sense. It can help you with the defense if you sacrifice too much defense with your gear to go high HP, so Goddess Grace can be solid. As I mentioned, for tanks which you expect to do some damage, Tuning Crystal is very solid. And Regal Crest can be okay if you don't have anything else. But always I would try to go for mythic artifacts. I don't really believe in the yellow legendary artifacts being any good. If you have anything here, so for example, even the Watchguard's Unity can be okay, it's just another 10% HP. Or stuff which just increase your defense and so on, but I wouldn't use this one. Never reduce your max HP to your tanks. Yeah, and obviously make sure to promote and level up and skill them up. And if you can awaken them so they are as strong as possible. And that would be kind of it, yeah. It's pretty simple how to gear the tanks, and I think there are just few elements you need to look for. Only few sets you want to make sure to don't sell them like me with the filtering. Occasionally going through and locking some gear pieces would be a good idea, because if I would remove this in any day from him, it would be immediately sold because it doesn't have a crit. So sometimes locking your gear is also a good idea if it's a good tanking gear and it's not necessarily what you are clearing from your gears in your cleanse streak, because when I'm cleansing the gear, what I usually do, I just click no crit rate and I sell everything that doesn't have crit rate to make space, and kaboosh, all gone. And then I do quick select and this, and if I have something from this, I sell it. For weapons that here, I actually even go a little bit deeper and I sell anything which doesn't have crit rate and attack percentage, so that can make the tank gear, getting tank gear way harder. But since we need only few tanks, and when they are equipped, I kind of stopped looking for the gear for them, because I didn't meet the content, which kind of blocked me because my tanks were weak. Usually it's mainly you need high damage, high healers geared and so on, or support characters. Okay. That would be it from the gearing advices for the tanks and how to get as much as possible value for your tanks. And thanks for watching, and see you on the next stream or in the next video. Bye bye.